Right, we have been discussing about Lumber Room by H.H. Munro. We have discussed about what kind of short story is this when we refer to other short stories. This short story can be identified as something little bit different from the other short stories where H.H. Munro tries to explain about the differences or else what kind of problems actually associated with people, especially these adults who are referring to their youngsters in a different manner, right? Their attitude towards these youngsters are a little bit different. And as a boy, this particular person also suffocated himself a lot, because I explained to you that when he was a child, he did not get enough attention, enough guidance from the two aunts and the grandmother. So as a result of that, he got some kind of influence that these, what you call adults, or else we call the parents and the teachers and the everyone, they should be very much aware, or else they should pay much more attention towards children when it comes to their behavior, right? So that is the major motive where the writer tries to explain the fact that children are sometimes much more smarter than adults. So as adults, we have to understand their cognitive abilities and their imagination and their talents. So we should not try to punish them. We should not try to tarnish them or destroy them. Instead of that, we have to help them, right? We have to encourage, we have to appreciate children. This is the major theme of this short story, right? The major theme of the short story is that children are much more smarter than adults. So our first part, actually, we have completed the first part. In the first part, we discussed about the problem. The problem is actually the main character, the Nicholas. He has put a frog into his bread and milk, and he is accusing his aunt that I can't drink my bread and milk because there is a frog in it. But aunt did not pay any attention towards that, and she thought that Nicholas is always talking nonsense. So which clearly explains that aunt is not paying attention towards children. So aunt said that don't talk nonsense. There cannot be a frog in your bread and milk. You are a liar. You are lying. But then Nicholas came with the conclusion that if you are not going to trust me, I can show you, right? I can tell you the colorings of the frog. I can tell you the markings of the frog, because Nicholas is the person who himself put that frog into his bread and milk. Nicholas wanted to prove in front of the breakfast table, in front of the other people, Nicholas wanted to prove that her aunt is not always correct. Where H.H. Munro is using the language expression, older, wiser, and better people. This is a very ironical expression where, what do you mean by irony? What is said is not what is meant. So this can be identified as a very ironical idea. So these adults are neither wiser nor better, but H.H. Munro says that they are wiser and better people. They think like that. But the actual scenario is totally different. They are not wiser, they are not better. So these people, these adults, they always thought that they are correct. And they always thought that these children are lying. They are talking about nonsense, right? They never paid any attention towards these children. As a result of that, what happened, Nicholas wanted to teach a lesson. So what he did was he himself took a frog and put into the bread and milk. So as a result of that, he was in disgrace. Aunt was totally upset because when aunt checked that there was a frog in his bread and milk. So he was correct. Nicholas wanted to teach a lesson to the aunt that you should come and check us. You have to pay attention towards our needs and wants. You cannot come to judgments about us without paying any attention. This is the basic idea that Aunt Nicholas wanted to prove. So Aunt was really furious about this action, but unfortunately, she did not have enough evidence to prove the fact that Nicholas is the person who put that frog into the bread and milk. So without having evidence, she cannot punish, but she thought of punishing this boy, this innocent boy, right? You can clearly understand her punitive methods, what kind of mentality is actually possessed by her. So what did she do? She organized a trip without what you call having a pre-plan. She suddenly organized, hectic organization can be seen here. She suddenly organized a trip to, or else we call an expedition to the Jagbroff Beach, right? The place is Jagbroff Beach. Please make sure to remember the place as well. So then what happened? All the other children, right? Girl cousin, boy cousin, and Bobby, all the other children can participate for this trip, but Nicholas will be excluded because he was in disgrace. in front of the breakfast table, the behavior of Nicholas actually brought some kind of disgrace to Nicholas as well as the aunt. So the main motive of organizing this trip is to torture Nicholas mentally, right? Mental punishment, mental torturing is actually given here. What do you mean by mentally torturing? All the other children will enjoy the Jack Brough expedition, but Nicholas will be at home, right? So Nicholas will be excluded from the trip. So he will be alienated, right? So he will suffocate with the isolation. However, Nicholas was a little bit upset about that because some few decent tears can be seen from his eyes. But his maturity is such that he never showed that. He never showed that. Even though he was upset, he never showed that. This is one good example to show that there are some children who are much more smarter than adults. He knew that aunt is trying to punish him, so he did not show to the outside world. However, instead of that, whatever the situation actually, constructed by the aunt, that particular situation is controlled by Nicholas. That particular situation is controlled by Nicholas. How did he control? He actually explained to the aunt that even though you have arranged this trip, nobody is going to enjoy. I will tell you the reason. Look at the girl cousin. She has scraped her knee while she was trying to get into the carriage. Now she is howling. Howling means crying. On the other hand, look at Bobby. Bobby's shoes are too tight, so he is not going to enjoy either, right? So it clearly shows us these children are not going to enjoy. Can't you understand that as an adult? Then aunt was surprised because these things are not noticed by the aunt. Then aunt asked from the children, why didn't you tell me? If you are having this kind of suffocations, why didn't you tell me? Then Nicholas said that very important quotation, my dear students, you have to study that. They told you twice, or else we told you twice. You were not listening. You were not listening when we tell you important things. Very important quotation. That entire quotation clearly shows that what kind of attention, what kind of idea, or else what kind of expression is actually H.H. Munro tries to give to the audience. Adults are not attentive to the needs and wants of children. They always think that there is no point of listening to children because they are talking nonsense. So this is the idea that H.H. Munro wants to bring here, my dear students. So please make sure to highlight that quotation. That is something very important, right? So Nicholas openly argued, right? All the other children, they did not argue. They did not have any conversation with the aunt. But Nicholas was brave enough to openly argue. He openly argued that they told you twice or we told you twice, but you don't listen when we tell you important things. So in that situation also, aunt was defeated. Aunt was defeated, right? Aunt thought that aunt can get some kind of happiness by punishing. Yes, Sachetani, very good. She did not give the needed attention. Exactly. Aunt thought that she won the match. Aunt thought that she won the battle. But at that particular situation also, Nicholas is the person who controlled the entire situation. Aunt thought that Nicholas will be so upset, but Nicholas was not upset. That is the first plan actually done by the aunt. Now we are moving to the second plan. So aunt did not give up. She actually planned another technique in order to capture Nicholas, in order to punish Nicholas, in order to take some kind of revenge from Nicholas. What did she do? Okay, she said that, okay, all the other children will go to the Jack Brough expedition. You will be at home. You can go to any place that you like. You can walk to anywhere that you like, but make sure to remember, you cannot go to the gooseberry garden, right? You cannot enter to the gooseberry garden, right? So this is also some kind of negative impression actually given by an adult. Most of the adults, they try to give wrong ideas, wrong impressions to their children, and then they try to punish them. Aunt is also that type of a character. So aunt has actually given this idea to Nicholas because aunt knew that soon after she explain the situation, what will happen, Nicholas will definitely go to the garden. Nicholas will definitely enter to the garden with a sense of curiosity, right? Even Nicholas understood that aunt is telling not to go to the gooseberry garden, which is a very ironical situation where in other terms, aunt is referring that you must go to the gooseberry garden, right? So Nicholas took it as a challenge, right? Nicholas wanted to prove the aunt that even though you told me that not to enter to the gooseberry garden, I have entered to the gooseberry garden without your notice. So aunt did not give up. She gave up all the other work that she had to do in that particular evening. And what did she do? She waited in the garden waiting for Nicholas, right? She was waiting for the Nicholas. She definitely knew that Nicholas will enter to the gooseberry garden. So that is her plan. She was waiting like a, what you call, fisherman. She was waiting like a fisherman, putting the, that particular prey into the ocean or into the river until a fish comes to eat that prey, right? So she is actually behaving like that, right? She is like a fisherman, like she's like a fisherman who is getting ready to fish, right? So she is expecting Nicholas to be the fish, but let's see what will happen. So, however, then we were given a small description about this gooseberry garden. The place is with a lot of fruit plants and bushes. If you are a small boy or a girl, you can survive there because nobody can see you. You can get some kind of a cover. Basically, they had 2 doors to enter there. But the problem is, the challenge is that Nicholas has to enter to the gooseberry garden without being noticed. And in order to do that, he have to have a plan, because otherwise, if he fails, what will happen? Definitely, he will be punished. That is what happens. So this is the story up to now. Puta, we stopped from this place, right? Can you please tell me? Did we discuss para number 12? Did we start?
Yes, sir. We started.
Right, we started. So I will move on to the para number 12 as well. Right. So did we discuss this paragraph as well, Puta?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So we will continue from there. This part is very much important. I will move on from there. Often and often, Nicholas had pictured to himself with the what the lumber room might be like. So Nicholas always wanted to have that idea. So in this particular line, we can clearly understand the imagination. So make sure to understand, my dear students, the short story called Lumber Room is a story that clearly explains us about the ability of imagination. So we are going to compare and contrast the aunt and the Nicholas. So you can clearly understand Nicholas is a character with a lot of imagination. Where H.H. Munro tries to construct Nicholas's character as a person who has got a lot of imagination, where aunt does not have that type of imagination. That is not a fault of aunt. When we come to a certain age, at the age of 30, 40, 50, we will lose that imagination, right? Our brain will not function the same way. But if you are a boy or a girl, right, at the age of 12, 13, 15, 17, you will have that power of imagination. So this is what we are lack of, right? This is what most of the adults are lack of. This is the argument actually brought by H.H. Munro in the story, right? So since you don't have any imagination, what will happen? You will try to destroy the imagination actually possessed by these children. So Nicholas always dreamed. Nicholas always had a lot of ideas. It was like a wonderland. He was thinking that what kind of things will be there inside this lumber room, right? So lumber room refers to a storeroom. You know that, right? Lumber room means a storeroom. What kind of things are actually kept in a storeroom? Things that you are not going to use, like broken chairs or any other stuff like that. But this lumber room is very much special, right? It is the other way. All the valuable, attractive objects, ornaments, and all the other things are actually kept in the lumber room, right? This is the pathetic situation, right? Those things should be there in a living room where each and everyone can come and appreciate, see the beauty of those things. But apart from that, irrespective of that, all these beautiful ornaments, wall hangings, candlesticks, books, everything is inside the lumber room with a lot of dust and damp. This is what H.H. Munro tries to explain, right? This is what H.H. Munro tries to explain. So lumber room can be identified as adults, or else the Nicholas's aunt's mind, right? Lumber room clearly symbolically expresses about adults. They are actually unwanted. They are already used. They are broken into pieces. As I have said, most of the used things will be put into a lumber room. That is what happens. But the things inside the lumber room, right? The beautiful things, the wall hangings and candlesticks and all the other possessions are actually like children. They are imagination, right? They are really precious. So lumber room is the place where all these things are hidden, right? Lumber room is the place where all these things are hidden. So in order to show these things to the entire world, that particular lumber room should be broken. Somebody should enter to that lumber room to explore those beautiful things, right? So who is brave enough to do this? Nicholas is brave enough to do this. So that is why the writer says some children are smarter than adults. Nicholas's girl cousin, boy cousin, or Bobby did not enter. They are also children. Please try to understand the speciality of Nicholas's character. They are also children. Even they can try this, but they didn't try. The reason is that they are afraid of aunt. They are afraid of aunt. That is what I say. That is what I said. Nicholas is special, right? Nicholas's character is actually built up or constructed by the writer as a flawless character without having any mistakes. That type of characters cannot be seen in literature, right? We don't have any flawless characters, right? People have their own mistakes. So, however, that region was carefully sealed from the youthful eyes concerning which no question were ever answered. What do you mean by that? That particular region is not allowed, right? Not given authority to enter to that place. Not proper authority is given to enter to that place, right? Especially for children, and no question can be asked. You can see what kind of autocratic, right? Please make sure to write that word, autocratic advices, or else autocratic decisions were actually taken by the aunt. Autocratic. What do you mean by autocratic? Ekadipati. Ekadipati, right? Autocratic, right? Aunt is kind of an autocratic character. You cannot ask any questions, right? This place is actually completely forbidden. What do you mean by forbidden? Not given any chance, right? Not permitted, not given permission, right? Forbidden. This entire place is actually forbidden. In the first place, it was large and dimly lit, one high window opening onto the forbidden garden being its only source of illumination. I will show you the picture, right? I will show you the picture. If you can see the picture, you can refer to that. Can you see this picture where one high window can be seen, where this illumination is actually taking place? Please pay your attention to this picture, right? You can see the picture where Nicholas is entering to the garden. So here I have actually highlighted that in blue color. I don't know whether you can see, right? So here we can identify this place, right? Actually explained by H.H. Munro. One window was there. Only one window was there. That is the only window which provided some kind of illumination. What do you mean by illumination? Light, right? Only this light is actually, the light is actually came to the room from this particular, what you call window, right? So as a result of that, this window is the only place which provided that illumination, right? That illumination was actually provided by this, what you call window, right? That part is very much important. Please refer to this picture, because by referring to this picture, you can understand a lot of explanations actually given by them, right? So we will move to the next part, right? In paragraph number 12. In the first place, it was large and dimly lit, one high window opening onto the forbidden garden being its only source of illumination. In the second place, it was a storehouse of unimagined treasures. In the second place, it was a storehouse. Storehouse means a place where I actually store certain things, right? A lumber room or a storeroom, right? So storeroom, lumber room, both what you call meanings are very similar. So unimagined treasures. See the what you call adjectives, right? See the adjectives used by the writer. Treasures, what kind of treasures? Unimagined treasures. So the language, right? Language used by the writer, right? Unimagined treasures, right? The treasures that cannot be what you call imagined. So the idea of imagination is actually taken into consideration here. The aunt, by assertion, was one of those people who think that things spoil by use and consigned to dust and damp by way of preserving them. Now, this is something very important. Aunt thought that all these things should be inside a storeroom, because when if I put these things in a living room, what will happen? These children will come and they will definitely spoil that, right? So as a result of that, in order to save them, what I have to do, I have to keep them inside the lumber room. That is the best thing that I can do. But the problem is that there are certain things that you have to take into your hand and you have to appreciate. The best example is when you were kids, sometimes your parents may have given you these valuable toys, right? Robots and dolls and everything from Japan or any other country. But after a small period of time, that particular robot or else that particular doll will be forever inside the what you call cabinet or anywhere. Then you will never get a chance to play with that particular toy, right? Your parents will say that it is a very valuable toy, so we cannot give, definitely you will break that. But once you become at the age of 18, 19, 20 and 25, you will realize that particular doll or that particular robot will be there forever, right? So what is the meaning, what is the sense, or what is the idea of keeping that type of things away from you if you are not given that particular item at the very particular age that you should have to have that item? Right? So that is the problem, right? This is the question actually asked by H.H. Munro. There is no point of actually preserving certain things, right? When the correct age comes, when the correct age actually, when the correct maturity actually receives, you should give chance, right? You should give some kind of a chance to other people or else these children to use them. As an example, when you needed a bike, right? If your parents are not ready to give you a bike at that time, especially a foot bicycle, then at the age of 25, 30, 35, there is no point of having a foot bicycle. You may have tons and tons of money to buy a foot bicycle, but you are not interested because you needed that at a very particular time period at the age of 12, 13, or 11. Right? At the age of 40, there is no point of buying a foot bicycle because you don't need it. You don't need it, and you may have enough money to buy that. This is the most important part, right? Certain things in life definitely should have to come to you at a particular age when you needed them the most. After that, there is no point of receiving all these things because your eagerness, your enthusiasm has already vanished. This idea is clearly represented here in this particular short story, right? So as a child, you should get education, or else whatever, the mobile phone, or else the mountain bicycle or laptop or whatever at that particular age. After that particular age comes, right? After that particular age, actually, there is no point of buying all these things because you don't have the same enthusiasm. So same thing happens here, right? Now these children are actually not going to enjoy with these things, but however, there is no point of keeping them inside the lumber room because those are the things that you have to give to the children in order to appreciate. This appreciation will actually definitely lead to their improvement of cognitive abilities. But unfortunately, Aunt did not do like that. The aunt by assertion was one of those people who think that things spoil by use and consign them to dust and damp by way of preserving them. Such parts of the house as Nicholas knew best were rather bare and cheerless. But here there were wonderful things for the eye to feast on. Inside the house also, which means Nicholas's house and the aunt's house, basically, Nicholas saw that there were certain things, but those things were not that much attractive, right? Aunt actually kept certain things inside the house, but according to Nicholas, those things are not that much beautiful, that much enjoyable. So that is what he says, right? So the all the treasures are actually inside the lumber room. All the treasures can be identified inside the lumber room, right? So Nicholas knew best were rather bare and cheerless, but here there were wonderful things for the eye to feast on. Now this language, my dear students, is very powerful. We call that diction, eye to feast on. Now what is a feast? Feast means like you have each and every food to eat. If you have seen Harry Potter movies, you may have seen that after they are meeting, the principal Dumbledore is actually clapping like this. Then you can see that each and every table was actually full of food, right? Roast chicken, pudding, and everything. That is what we call a feast, right? So when you saw a feast, you will be happy, right? You saw that, you will be really happy. So here, those are actually food. You don't have to eat them. By looking at them, even you will be satisfied. You don't have to eat them, right? So it is kind of a, that kind of beautiful sight. Here also, the writer says that those beautiful ornaments, wall hangings, candlesticks are actually a feast to the eye, right? The person will definitely get some kind of happiness by looking at them. You don't have to touch them. Now, in a feast, you have to eat them, right? Before eating them, you will get some kind of happiness by looking at them. But now here also, right, there are a lot of beautiful things that you will enjoy by looking at them. So it is like a feast, right? Definitely Nicholas is going to enjoy that, right? So we can clearly understand what kind of language, right? Yeah, exactly, Nikesan. There are a lot of things that will, that Nicholas have never seen in his life. And he has actually entered to this place, Nikesan, with a kind of a challenge, Niputa. He never came to this place in kind of through bed of roses. Can you understand? He entered to this place with lot of troubles and tribunals, with a lot of obstacles, right? So whatever the things that he can feast here are actually really valuable for him. Try to understand that, because he never came to this place actually a very kind of an easy manner, right? He planned it and he had a lot of obstacles, and through that he came to this place. That is why these things are very much valuable to him. Try to understand in this perspective, right? Because we know that what kind of effort is actually given by Nicholas in order to enter to this place. Can you understand? So as a result of that, he gets some kind of happiness, right? Because all the other children, they fail to see this. The valuability of this thing is that all the other children were suffocating in the Jagrov beach because the weather was not good at that time period, and because of the hot weather, the children are not going to enjoy, as Nicholas suggested. On the other hand, Nicholas, who's supposed to be the, the person who is going to suffer from that particular action, is going to enjoy because none of these children will get a chance to enter to the lumber room. Can you understand? None of these children will get a chance to enter to the lumber room. They are not brave enough. They are not, intelligent enough. They are not wise enough. So Nicholas is special. Nicholas is special. When we refer with the other kids, right, Nicholas is special. That is what you have to understand here, my dear students. Some children are smarter than adults. Not all the children. Girl cousin, boy cousin, Bobby, they all are children. But they are not smarter. They are not smarter. Some children are smarter than adults. Some children, right? So Nicholas is that in that category. Some children in that particular category. First and foremost, there was a piece of framed tapestry that was evidently meant to be a fire screen, right? A beautiful tapestry is seen there, right? Imagination. හරියට හරි සචේතනී මේ කතාව පුරාවටම අපිට හම්බෙන්නේ මෙතන ඉඳන් ඔක්කොම හම්බෙන දේවල් සචේතනී අපි කියනවා imagination, right? Imagination කියලා අපි යෝකට කියනවා මේ මනෝභාවය, right? මනෝභාවය කියලා සිංහලෙන් කියනවා imagination, the talent that you can create mental pictures in your mind. So we can clearly understand Nicholas's imagination by referring to this entire paragraph, right? When you go through the paragraph, you can refer to that. The entire paragraph explains about Nicholas's the ability of imagination, what kind of ability that he possesses to imagine, right? He's a very powerful person who can really imagine. So what is H.H. Munro tries to bring here is that adults don't have that capacity. Some adults, they don't have that capacity. That is the problem. So here, after this paragraph, what happens? One by one, Nicholas is going to explain the things that he has actually experienced in this particular lumber room, right? The first and foremost, there was a piece of framed tapestry that was evidently meant to be a fire screen, right? The fire screen was there. The burning fire can be seen. So in order to, cover that, there was a very beautiful tapestry. The tapestry is a very beautiful, in that particular tapestry, there was a very beautiful picture. By looking at that picture, Nicholas is actually creating a very beautiful story. This clearly shows us the power of imagination possessed by Nicholas, right? We are going to discuss about those things, right? So I hope that you are in 12th paragraph, right? Because I'm taking some time to explain because this paragraph is a little bit difficult. Did we discuss this paragraph, Puta? Did we do this one? Right, okay. This one is very difficult. So please make sure to understand and highlight, right? So here, these quotations are also very much important, right? See the first part, to Nicholas, it was a living, breathing story. It was a living, breathing story. Powerful metaphor. Please highlight that and write down on your textbook. To Nicholas, it was a living, breathing story. It was not a tapestry. It was not tapestry, right? It was for other people. See the perspective of Nicholas. Nicholas's perspective is different. Nicholas's perspective is different. What is this difference, Puta? There are some people who refer to certain things in a different manner, Puta. That is what makes them special, right? That is what makes them special. I will give you a simple example when it comes to literature. Why poets are different from other people? Why novelists are different from other people? Because their perspective is different. Their perspective is different, right? I will give you an example, right? If it is raining heavily, if water is actually gushing out from the roof, just imagine that it is raining heavily. It is raining heavily, right? Water, you open the window and you can see the other house, and you are watching at the other house, and you can see that water is gushing out from the roof. Water is gushing out, water is coming out of the roof. Same incident. But you will say that, okay, water is gushing out from the roof. But if you are a poet, if you have imagination, you will see that same incident in a different perspective. That is the difference of doing literature. So you will say that water is not gushing out from the roof. The roof is vomiting water. The roof is vomiting water. වහලෙන් වතුර ගලන්නේ නැහැ. වහලේ වමනේ දානවා. වහලෙන් වතුර ගලන්නේ නැහැ. වහලෙන් වමනේ දානවා. Can you see the imagination? The roof is crying. Very good. The roof is crying. The roof is vomiting water. The roof is crying. Can you understand my explanation? This is what you have to understand. when you are doing literature, you see things in a different manner. That is because of imagination. Each and every student will have that imagination, right? Because of that imagination, only almost all the literary works are actually done by most of the poets, most of the dramatists, novelists, and short story writers. It is the imagination, right? Whatever the simple incident that other people see, we see that in a different manner. We see that in a different manner, right? The best example, right? So as an example, a beautiful butterfly is on a flower. A beautiful butterfly is on a flower. So how Mahagamasekara saw that? So we saw that, okay, the beautiful butterfly is on a flower. But Mahagamasekara saw that in a different manner. He said that Maleka Maleki, there is a flower on top of another flower. There is a flower on top of another flower. That is what we call imagination. He saw the butterfly as a flower. So he never said that a butterfly was on a flower. He said that a flower can be seen on another flower. Maleka maleki. Maleka maleki. Right? Mal pettaki. Neha saki samanalayaki. Neha saki. No, my friend. Don't misunderstand. It is a butterfly. It is not a flower. So you can see the imagination that people have. People imagine. They have different views. The same incident. The same incident. That is why they are special. So that is why Nicholas is also special. The power of imagination. For Nicholas, it was a living, breathing story. For other people, it is just a tapestry. For other people, it is just a tapestry. For Nicholas, it was a living, breathing story. He sat down on a roll of Indian hangings. So he saw some of the Indian hangings, right? Wall hangings, glowing in wonderful colors beneath a layer of dust, and took in all the details of the tapestry picture. So he looked at the tapestry picture again. Very beautiful picture with a lot of details. Now he is paying his attention towards those details, right? This is the difference that we can see when we refer to children and adults. As adults, now I can personally see that because I am doing literature. Most of the adults who do literature and who read books, who are into art subjects, they can see that beauty. And most of the other people as well who are into literature, who like to sing songs and enjoy literature. But on the other hand, most of the other people, they don't have that enthusiasm, right? They just see that as a tapestry, right? A chair can be a different type of a bear for you, but other people see it as a chair. That's it. There is no difference, right? So, but Nicholas actually referred to these things in a different manner, right? A man dressed in the hunting costume of some remote period. What do you mean by remote period? Right? Remote period means like a period that is not belong to urban area, right? Kind of a rural area, long time ago. He may be a Vedda or else a hunter, right? So we don't know. He is actually having that hunting costume. He's having that hunting costume. So where can you see this picture? You can see that picture on the tapestry, right? On the tapestry. I will show you that. Wait, I will show you that. Here we have that. I don't know whether you can see. I will try my level best to enlarge this. Can you see this picture, my dear students? Is it visible for you? Right, yes, wait, I will enlarge it and show. Can you see the tapestry here? Can you see the tapestry here? Can you see the tapestry here? Now here Nicholas is there, right? Here you can see Nicholas. And here the tapestry that I am referring to. Can you see that? I will highlight it. This is the part that I was explaining, right? This is the part that I was explaining. Can you see that? I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. I don't know whether you can see it, right? So this is the part that I was explaining. This is the part that I was explaining. So can you see that the hunting man can be seen there. What does he possess with him? Can you imagine? Here we have the hunting man. What does he what do you call having on his hand? Can anybody tell me? Can you guess? Anyone? Very good. Arrow and bow. Very good. Arrow and bow.
Arrow?
Very good. Excellent. Arrow. Right? නිකලස් නිකම් මෝඩෙක් වගේ ඉන්නේ නැහැ. මේව දිහා එයා බලලා ගොඩක් හිතනවා. ඒ මාරයි නේද? ඒ දුන්නක් අතේ තියන් ඉන්නේ මෙයා මොන රටේ එක්කෙනෙක් වෙන්නද? From which country this particular hunter actually came from, right? What kind of hunting activity that he is doing, right? So all these things will be actually explained here. I will go one by one, so you can see the picture, right? So I will come to that picture. So here is the hunter that we have been discussing. Okay, right. We will go to the explanation again. That paragraph is little bit difficult. That is why I am giving you this explanation in that manner, right? Okay. Right. Okay, we will go to the paragraph again, right? Right. So here we were explaining here, right, this part. Costume of some remote period had just transfixed a stag. Transfixed means hunted. Transfixed had just transfixed, hunted a stag. Stag means what do you call deer? A deer, right? A deer was actually killed by this particular hunter. He has hunted a stag, or else we call a deer. Deer කියන්න බෑ මුවෙක් නෙමෙයි පුතේ. අර අපි කියන්නේ උට stag කියන්නේ පුතේ ගෝනා. අර අපි අර කොහෙද යන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ එහි තනට මොකද්ද කියන්නේ? හෝටන් ටැන් එහෙම යනකොට ඉන්නේ පුතේ. හෝටන් ටැන් යනකොට ඉන්නේ stag ගෝනා උට කියන්නේ නේද? මුවා නෙමෙයිනේ. මුවාට කියන්නේ deer නේ. stag කියලා කියන්නේ ගෝනෙක්. ඒ ගෝනෙක්ව දඩයම් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ ගෝනා ඉන්නව ළඟ වැටිලා. Right? So we will see that on the picture. We can refer to that. All these things are there on the picture. So these are the things that Nicholas is actually paying his attention. Transfixed a stag with an arrow. It could not have been a difficult shot. Whatever the shot actually put by him will not be a difficult shot because the stag is very nearby. Nearby means stag was actually walking nearby, not too far away. If the stag was too far away, he will miss the shot. He will miss the shot, right? He has definitely got the shot because the stag was actually running here and there nearby. So it was very easy to target. So these things are not there on the picture. These things are not there on the tapestry. So how did he know that? How is he making these conclusions? Can you tell me? How is he making these conclusions? Can you tell me? Anyone? දැන් මේ ළමයා කියනවා මේ ගෝනා එච්චර දුර හිටියා වෙන්න බෑ මේ ළඟ ඉන්න ගෝනෙක් මේ මුව මරලා තියෙන්නේ බොහොම කොහොමද මෙයා දන්නේ පුතා මේව මේ ස්ටේප් ස්ට්‍රී එකේ තියෙන්නේ නැහැ නේ පුතා මේව right these things are Nicholas's imagination. Nikesan, thank you so much. මේ හැම දෙයක්ම නිකලස්ගේ මනෝභාවය පුතා ඇත්තට එහෙම දේවල් වෙලා නැහැ. අපි දන්නේ නැහැ මේ ගෝනා ළඟ හිටියද දුර හිටියද අපි ඒව දන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි පින්තූරේ දිහා බලලා මෙයා වෙනම මනෝභාවයක් නිර්මාණය කරගන්න. වෙනම එකක් මෙයා හදනවා. Right? He takes a story he takes the story to a whole new level. Venom level story. You can see that, right? Transfix the stag with an arrow. It could not have been a difficult shot because the stag was only 1 or 2 paces away from him. Right? The stag was actually fallen very nearby. The stag was fallen nearby. So he came to a conclusion that, okay, that was not a very difficult shot, right? So he was not a really good hunter, right? He was not a really good hunter, maybe an amateur. ආදුනිකයෙක් වෙන්නදී මේ එක පොදම දක්ෂයෙක් නෙමෙයි. He is not a very talented person, maybe an amateur, right? Maybe an amateur person who has actually hunting. So however, he was successful. It could never have been a difficult shot because the stag was only 1 or 2 paces away from him in the thickly growing vegetation, right? So how do he knows that it is thickly grown? How do he knows, right? He actually comes to the conclusion that by looking at the picture, he makes his own story. That is what happens. Try to understand that, right? So growing vegetation means all the trees can be seen everywhere. That the picture suggested it would not have been difficult to creep up to a feeding stag, right? Logical. If there are a lot of vegetation, what will happen? Stags, then we take deer, rabbits, and all the animals will come there in order to feed grass. So definitely he has hunted the stag when the stag was actually having some kind of eating. The stag may be engaged in some kind of an eating activity. At that time period only he has hunted. Then පේනවද මේ ළමයාගේ තියෙන මනෝ හරියට නිකන් detective කෙනෙක් වගේ නේද? Who is a detective පුතා? Who is a detective? Who is known as a detective? Right?
Person who solved a crime.
A person who solves a crime. Then බලන්න මේ ළමයාත් ඒ වගේ. Thank you පුතා. This boy is also like that. He is taking evidence one by one. Okay, the stag is nearby the hunter, which means that this hunter may be an amateur, right? He is not a person who is really good, really talented when it comes to hunting because very nearby, 2 or 3 paces away. And the entire place is full of vegetation, which means that this hunter has definitely killed this particular animal when that animal came to eat some grass, right? When the feeding process has been taken place, He has taken his chance and he has killed this innocent animal. That is what happened. So all these conclusions are drawn by him looking at the picture. So this entire paragraph can be identified as a very powerful paragraph which clearly depicts the power of imagination possessed by Nicholas. Power of imagination, right? Not only that, we will move on. It would not have been difficult to creep up to a feeding stack, and the two spotted dogs that were springing forward to join in the chase had evidently been trained to keep to heel till the arrow was discharged. Wow, right? So other information is also given. The hunter did not come alone. The hunter did not come alone. The hunter came with two hounds. Hounds, Hounds. Who are hounds? What is the difference between these hounds and dogs? They are also a set of dogs. But what is the difference? Can you tell me the difference?
They're trained.
Yeah, they are hunting dogs. Have you seen that when you kill someone, when you kill some animal, those dogs are actually chasing that particular animal? Have you seen? Right, you may have seen that.
Yes, sir. Those in England, they hunt foxes.
Exactly, right. They were known as hounds, right? Hounds, right? Hunting dogs, right? They were specially used for hunting. So this hunter had two dogs, right? They were trained really well until the arrow was removed. Those two hunting dogs were actually protecting the stag, protecting the prey, right? So very much powerful and really trained, right? That is what we can understand. Then may really trained hunting dogs lamaru eva ලියලා තියෙනවද කොහේ හරි බිත්තියේ ලියලා තියෙනවද? Nobody has written these things. This is power of imagination. Nobody has written. Now he is the person who is telling all these things to us. These were not written anywhere. මේවා කොහෙවත් ලියලා නැහැ. Nicholas is making the story like a detective, right? Like a detective. He is taking all the evidence and he creates a story like a filmmaker. He's like a filmmaker, right? He's making a film. Whatever the things that he can see in the outside environment, he takes these things into consideration and he makes a movie. Can you understand? He's that type of a boy. Two spotted dogs that were springing forward to join in the chase had evidently been trained to keep to heel till the arrow was discharged, right? Until the arrow was taken from the animal, those two dogs are protecting that particular prey, because sometimes the prey might stood up and run away. That kind of things can happen. So until the stag was actually taken, until the arrow was taken away, they were actually protecting the stag. That part of the picture was simple. That part of the picture was very simple. Anybody can see that. If interesting, but did the huntsman see what Nicholas saw? But did the huntsman see what Nicholas saw? That 4 galloping wolves were coming in his direction through the wood. Now, this is the part is actually introduced, or else explained by the Nicholas, right? Where he says, did huntsman see what Nicholas saw? Very important. Now we can see the clear imagination of Nicholas's character. I will highlight that part because very important. Now Nicholas starts another story. What is the story? According to Nicholas, 4 galloping wolves are actually coming behind the hunter. Now the hunter is getting hunted. Hunter is getting hunted by whom? Hunter is getting hunted by whom?
By the wolves.
Very good, my boy. Thank you so much. Now Nicholas says that the battle is not over. The battle is not over. Hunter didn't have any idea 4 galloping wolves are coming behind the hunter, right? So hunter is going to become the hunted, right? So that is what happens. So Nicholas is making his own story from here onwards. From here onwards, he is going to make his own story. Huntsman see what Nicholas saw, that 4 galloping wolves were coming in his direction through the wood, ? Through the wood. දෙයියනේ මේ වෘකයෝරයනක් නේද මෙයාගේ පස්සෙන් ඉන්නේ. So question mark is given to you. You should think. You should try to understand this. The different level. He's taking the story to a different level. Can you understand? Right. There might be more than 4 of them hidden behind the trees. I have only saw 4. I have only saw 4 wolves. There can be more than that. There can be more than that. See the imagination. See the imagination. Now, can you remember Can you remember? I will go to paragraph number 8 or 9 if I am not mistaken. I explained you when all the children did some kind of a mistake collectively, when all the children did some kind of a mistake, what is the punishment given by the aunt? What is the punishment given by the aunt? Can you remember?
They were told about a circus in a
Very
nearing
good,
town,
very
but she
good.
was never able to describe its wonders.
Hari, right? Can you please repeat that, Puda? Who is that? Very good. Can you please repeat that? Who is that? Very good boy.
Dinut.
Dinut, can you please explain that, Puda? Can you please tell that again? Yes.
The aunt would say to the children when they have collectively sinned that there would be a circus in the neighboring town, that they were going to be taken that very day, but due to their actions they were not going to be taken to there. But she was never really able to describe the wonders of the circus.
She was never able to describe the wonders of the circus. Why, Puda? What is the problem with her? What do you think? What is the
She
problem?
lacked imaginative power.
Now you can see the comparison, right? Aunt is not able to make this type of beautiful stories where she is not, as our Dirut said, she is not able to make a beautiful story. She can't actually get the attraction of these children by telling a beautiful story. Can you understand? So children were not that much, enthusiastic towards that. Even though she said that there was a beautiful circus, very beautiful, this kind of animals are there, this much of elephants are there, she was not able to explain that to the kids in a much more realistic manner because she lacks that imagination. Very good, Dinu. Thank you so much. I salute you. You are a really good student. You know the story now. Other students also should know like that. I have described these things. Right? In your school, did you do this, Puda, in Royal Institute? Did you finish?
Yes, sir.
Very good, right? So aunt was there, right? But aunt used to explain, but the problem is she was not able to explain that properly because she lacks the imagination, the power of imagination, right? But on the other hand, Nicholas is not like that. Nicholas is not like that, right? Nicholas was able to create an image, invent a story by himself. This is a pure talent actually possessed in Nicholas. Very important, my dear students, the pure talent, right? So 4 galloping wolves were coming in his direction through the wood. There might be more than 4 of them hidden behind the trees. And in any case, would the man and his dogs be able to cope with the 4 wolves if they made an attack? So the problem is, right, Nicholas, he was thinking, right? So he was thinking that what will happen now, right? The most interesting part of the story. Now, what will happen to this huntsman? This huntsman didn't have any idea that all these 4 galloping wolves are coming behind him. So what will happen, right? Wolves will kill this particular, hunter, right? Or else something else will happen, right? They didn't have any idea. So Nicholas was thinking what will happen. So as the audience, even we can understand there was a story inside another story. Can you understand? There are 2 stories. Now, the story that we are going to learn is lumber room. Lumber room, you know that, right? But inside that lumber room, there is another story. Sub story is there inside that, right? What will happen to this huntsman? What will happen to this huntsman? The huntsman has actually killed the stag, right? Obvious, very good. Then what happened? Nicholas was thinking that what will happen to the huntsman, whether the huntsman will become the hunted again. All these wolves will get together and attack the huntsman. That thing will happen, right? That will occur. That is the idea that huntsman is trying to, that Nicholas is trying to explain. So this was actually given in my picture. I will go to that part and I will show you. I hope you guys can see this picture, right? So can you see this picture where the huntsman is there? I have shown you that part. Can you see here this stag? The stag is there. Can you see the stag, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, very good. You can see the stag, right? So stag is there and you can see the 2 hounds, right? The 2 dogs, right? So here you can see one, right? And here you can see another one. And where are the wolves? Can you see the wolves?
In the 2 small ones.
Very good, right? Here you can see the wolves. If you pay your attention very carefully, there you can see the wolves. I don't know, others can see. Hansani, peenawada puta? Peenawada danne.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, very good, right, very good, right, very good. මේ පේන්නද දන්නේ නැහැ මම ඒකයි මේ පෙන්නන්නේ මේ රූපෙන් ඕගලන්ට තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් මේ කාමරේ තිබ්බ ලස්සන දේවල්. දැන් ඔබට පේනවා අර hunter ඉන්නවා, එයාගේ dogs ලා දෙන්න ඉන්නවා, stag ඉන්නවා වැටිලා බිම මේ පේනවනේ. ගෝනෙක් ඉන්නවා බිම වැටිලා දැන් අර වෘකයෝ ටික පිටිපස්සෙන් බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා. මේගලන්ට කිසිම අදහසක් නැහැ. right? දැන් මේ මෙතනින් එහාට මේ ස්ටෝරි එකේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? දැන් මේක කතාව ඇතුලේ අතුරු කතාවක්. කතාව ඇතුලේ අතුරු කතාවක්. තව කතාවක් තියෙනවා දැන්. Now as the audience we are curious to know ඇත්තට මොකද වෙන්නේ, what will happen. දැන් අපි දන්නේ නැහැ, දැන් අපිට මතක නැහැ. Now we don't know what will happen to the aunt. Whether aunt is able to enter to the gooseberry garden, what will happen to the aunt, and දැන් අපිට ඒව මතක නැහැ. Now we are in a different world. Now we are in a different world. Can you understand the talent possessed by the writer and the talent possessed by Nicholas? Now we can't even remember that we are actually dealing with another story. Here we have a story inside another story, right? So this is what the beauty of imagination. This is the beauty of imagination. Please try to understand, right? So this is what most of the people lack, right? Most of the people lack. So Nicholas is a character who can very easily understand that beauty, right? So this is what I wanted to explain you guys, right? Okay, so right, we will go to the next part. Right, okay. Right. Yeah, exactly, yes, right, okay. Is this still in paragraph number 12? Can anybody who has that textbook tell us? Make a paragraph 12 වලම කොටසක්ද? Is this a part of paragraph 12?
Yes, sir.
Or else a different paragraph?
Part of paragraph.
Part of, right. Okay, thank you, Puda. Part of. The story is not finished, right? The man had only 2 arrows left in his quiver. Quiver means the place where you put the arrows, right? The quiver, the particular object that you have to put all the arrows, all the bundle of arrows will be there behind, and you take one by one, right? You take one by one to what you call kill the people. So, but the problem is this particular what you call huntsman only had 2 arrows. Only had 2 arrows, right? So altogether, how many wolves are there? 4 wolves are there. So the possibility, if he and make sure to remember, he is a very good talented huntsman or not very much talented. Any answers?
He's an amateur, so he's not very
amateur,
talented.
very good. He's not a very talented what do you call powerful person who can what do you call kill these animals, right? So that is what Nicholas said, that okay, the stag is very nearby because it's a very nearby shot. He's a not very good person who can target really well. Can you understand? So however, he has left only 2 arrows. So the possibility is he should be a very powerful and talented person in order to kill those 2 wolves. But even if he does that, he will not survive. Why? Why? Altogether, how many
Only
wolves
2
are
arrows
there?
left.
Altogether, how many wolves are there?
4 wolves.
4 wolves are there. Very good, Dinut. So even if he becomes successful, other 2 wolves will come and attack him. Curiosity. Kutuhalaya, curiosity. What will happen? What will happen, right? So even if he kills the 2, what do you call, animals, or else these wolves, right? Definitely other 2 will attack. There's no doubt about that. Definitely other 2 will attack. When the 2 dogs are there, they will also counter attack, but we don't know what will happen. We don't know what will happen, right? And he might miss with one or both of them. Right. So he makes the conclusion. He might miss with one or both of them because he's an amateur. He's not a really talented, what do you call, person who is really good with bows and arrows. He cannot take the particular target properly. Can you understand? That is the idea. All one knew about his skill in shooting was that he could hit a large stag at a ridiculously short range. Right. So Nicholas also approves the fact that all one knew. Now we know that he is not a really talented person with arrows and bows, right? He can only hit a large stag. When the target is very large, you can very easily aim. When the target is huge, you can very easily aim. But the reality is, we know that he's not going to be that much talented person, right? But these wolves, they are not very large, and they are jumping and running here and there, right? Trying to attack, right? So this is the difference. Nicholas sat for many golden minutes revolving the possibilities of the scene. Just like you, Nicholas was also waiting there for many golden minutes. My dear children, you can see the adjectives, right? Very powerful language, very rich language, right? We call that epithets. They are not known as adjectives. We call them as adjectives when we learn grammar. But in literature, whatever the explanations or whatever the adjectives that we use in literature, they were known as epithets, right? They were known as epithets. Epithets are set of adjectives that we use in literature in order to describe something. They were known as epithets, right? They were known as epithets, right? Epithets. Please make sure to write that, right? They were known as epithets. What do you mean by epithets? Set of adjectives that we use in literature in order to explain something. Adjectives and adverbs are used in language, right? Grammar. But in literature, we have a special name for that. The special name that we use is epithets, right? They are known as epithets, right? Golden minutes. Golden can mara precious. This time period is very precious for him. Very precious time period, right? He will never get a chance like this until the aunt arrives, right? He can enjoy this. Golden minutes, not mere minutes, right? Golden minutes, because he conquered the challenge. He entered to the gooseberry garden without being noticed, and he opened the lumber room. He entered to the lumber room. Now he saw the tapestry, and he was explaining a very beautiful, living, breathing story to us. Just imagine this person, right? He's not an ordinary boy. This boy is not an ordinary boy, right? It's totally different, right? Golden minutes, revolving the possibilities of the sea. He was inclined to think that there were more than 4 wolves and that the man and his dogs were in a tight corner. He was inclined. From there onwards, he was thinking that what will happen? What will happen? What is going to happen? Right? The next incident is actually brought some kind of question mark, right? Question mark into his head. He was inclined to think, what will happen? What will happen? Or these wolves, whether these wolves are going to attack this animal and the stag, they will take the stag as well, whether the hunter is going to become the hunted, or else whether the hunter is actually brave enough to fight with these wolves as with a counter attack with the help of the dogs, right? That is what he thought. So paragraph number 12 can be identified as a paragraph which clearly comparatively shows us the difference between Nicholas's character and the aunt's character. පුතේ මේවා හොඳට බලා ගන්න, මේවා හරිම වැදගත්. අපි මේකට කියනවා comparison, සංසන්දනය, චරිත නිරූපණය. සිංහල තියෙනව නේද සාහිත්‍ය, සිංහල සාහිත්‍ය තියෙනවනේ. චරිත නිරූපණය, characterization, right? How a character is depicted, right? The villain and the hero. Hero means the protagonist, the villain means the antagonist. Nicholas's aunt is the antagonist. Nicholas is the protagonist, right? Very important. So you can clearly understand how it is actually projected, how this particular action is actually projected by Nicholas, right? So the entire paragraph is a one good example for Nicholas's cognitive ability as well as his imagination, his powerful imagination, right? So the entire paragraph, you can remember you can by heart the first line. It was a living, breathing story for Nicholas. Living, breathing story. It's not just a tapestry. It's not just a tapestry. It's just a tapestry and a lumber room for aunt, right? It's just a lumber room for aunt. But for Nicholas, it is a forbidden paradise. Sangavunu paradisaya. Nandata me kamare nikam storu kamaraya. No value. No value. But for Nicholas, it is a forbidden paradise. Right? It's a forbidden paradise, right? Children are like that. Children are like that, right? Sometimes as adults, the things that we are actually moving away, certain junks and all this garbage that we are putting out of the house, they will come, they will search them and they will bring something out from that. They will do different types of ornaments or else something, I don't know. They have that ability. The things that we don't value is actually valued by these children, right? They can do a lot of wonders. That is why we have to protect them. They can do wonders. That is why we have to protect them. We have that responsibility. That is why we have to protect them, right? This is the idea given by H.H. Munro, right? As adults, what we have to do is that we have to protect their ability. We have to protect their skills rather than destroying them or tarnishing them or humiliating them. That is what we can understand. Right, okay. So I will erase this part. You can write down the difficult words. Right. Hurry up and write down. Did you write this, Puta? Suvani, did you write this?
No, sir.
Okay. Hurry up and write down all the difficult words related to paragraph number 11 and paragraph number 12 can be seen here. Stale, no longer fresh, steal from, to take or get quickly without permission, concerning, with regard to, in connection with, expectations, eager anticipation, a belief that something will happen because it is likely. Forbidden means not allowed or not permitted. Illumination means the light. We saw that word in the previous paragraph. Actually, it is in paragraph number 11 or 12, if I am not mistaken. Aunt by assertion, aunt by force. The aunt forcefully declared herself as Nicholas's aunt, right? She is not the real aunt, right? So he is so distant aunt, so-called aunt. Consigned, to put into the control, care of somebody or something. Bear means not hidden. Feast, in this short story, it means to look at somebody or something and get treat or pleasure. A great treat or pleasure. Just like in Harry Potter, you can see a table with a lot of different food items. You may have seen that. The same thing happens here. We don't have food items, but each and every beautiful ornament that is actually witnessed by Nicholas is actually a feast for his eyes, because he has never seen such beautiful items anywhere, right? Such beautiful items were not seen by him anywhere, especially not in the aunt's house, right? So if you have any problems, you can ask. Ape anik daruwanta therunada? Atika, can you understand? Chirani, Dulmi,
Sir.
Oshani,
Yes,
can you
sir.
understand? Rukeya?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, very good. So you have to talk with me, right? I'm really happy that this boy is actually asking questions and he is participating, and even Nikesan, I'm really happy, right? Others also should contribute, sir, I think, in this manner. So don't you think that he's this type of a boy? Don't you think that he's trying to humiliate the aunt? But as a boy, he should not do that, because however, aunt is an adult. We should not humiliate adults like that, right? Whatever the problems that they have, we should not do like that. Don't you think like that? So in other class, a lot of students, they ask that question. So don't you think that Nicholas is actually humiliating the aunt? This is not something that we expect from a boy or a girl, from a child. Whatever said and done, they are adults. In our Asian continent, we have that respect, whatever said and done, right? Because they are adults. Don't you think like that? A lot of children actually came with that conclusion. I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with that. But Nicholas is from a different culture, different tradition. And on the other hand, there are a lot of mistakes actually done by the aunt. A lot of mistakes done by the aunt. The way she tries to push children towards the wrong path, the way she tries to punish children and get some kind of happiness from that, the way she plans all the actions in order to put all the children in danger, those things we cannot appreciate. Those things as a child, as an adult, you cannot appreciate. That is the problem. So we have to be silent when it comes to that type of question, because adults, they are much more experienced. But if they are behaving in such an immature manner, such an inexperienced manner, that will bring a lot of problems. That will bring a lot of problems. Right. So hurry up and finish it. Pass me a message. By telling aunt as a soy distant aunt, the poet draws, not the poet, the writer draws a big relationship gap. Exactly, yes, Nikesan. Even I forgot to tell that, Nikesan. Thank you so much. A huge gap. The same gap can be seen when it comes to H.H. Munro's life. H.H. Munro's life also, the same gap can be seen where his entire childhood is limited by the two aunts, especially the aunt called Augusta. The same character can be seen here, right? H.H. Munro's aunt, the Augusta, and his grandmother. They also did the same thing, right? They limited this boy. They limited this boy. They limited the freedom. He was actually born and bred kind of an religious environment. So he did not enjoy his childhood. That is why I said H.H. Munro tries to bring us that idea. One day a small child will become a grown-up man. On that day, that grown-up man will remember how he was raised, right? What kind of suffocation that he went through in his life. So when he was taking decisions, what will happen? He will take those things into consideration. හැමදාම ඔය ළමයි විදියට ඉන්නේ නැහැනේ. කවදාරි ළමයි තාත්තා කෙනෙක් වෙනවා. එතකොට එයාට ළමයි හම්බෙච්ච දවසක එයා ඒ ළමයිට සලකන්නේ අර විදියටම තමයි. Right? He's going to use the same methodology, right? How he was treated. You have a very beautiful poem called Father and Son by Cat Stevens, right? Father and Son by Cat Stevens. We will learn the generation gap and the gap between father and son in that poem. The same topic is actually discussed, right? So whatever the experiences that you get when you are young age will mold you, will create you, right? So it is better to get some kind of positive impression, some kind of a positive effect. Otherwise, once you become a grown-up man, you cannot erase those memories, right? Those nightmares from your mind. So you will come to the society with that type of behavior. And as a result of that, we can see terrible teachers, terrible parents, terrible adults, because their childhood was not good. Especially when you refer to the criminals in Sri Lanka. Please search, right? They were not criminals when they were young boys. They were really educated and really good students. So what happened? They did not get that love. They did not get that affection. As a result of that, they ended up being criminals. That is what happened, right? So that is something very important that you have to find out, right? We can see his rebellious attitude because she did not give him needed attention. Exactly. But if she give needed attention towards him, Nicholas might be a respect. Exactly, yes, very good. In order to get respect, Puta, Dirut, in order to get respect, what we should do?
We must act in a respectable way.
In order to get respect, we have to give respect. Right? Hansani, can you understand what I am telling here? Right? In order to get respect, we have to give respect. Right? මනුස්සයෙක්ට අපි මේ ගරු කරන්න ඒ මනුස්සයා අපිට ගෞරවය දෙන්න ඕන. බලෙන් මිනිසුන්ට අපි ගෞරව කරන්නේ නැහැ. We will worship a teacher honestly. We will worship a teacher honestly. How? Because we feel that this teacher has actually done something to me. මේ ගුරුවරයා මට යමක් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මම ගිහිල්ලා වඳිනවා. But I am pretty sure you are not going to worship almost all the teachers in your school. Because inside your heart, you know that, okay, even though they are teachers, they have not done their best for us. They have not done their best for us, right? Even I am the same. Even I do the same, right? So in order to get respect, you should give respect. Here, aunt is not giving any respect at all. Not for Nicholas, but also for any child, right? Please go to the other part as well. Exactly. We can come to that conclusion. Aunt may be having a very suffocating childhood. If you have actually if you had some kind of a funny and entertaining childhood, you will never do that to your children, right? You will never do that because you know that your childhood is there to enjoy. But if you had a very suffocating childhood, your mentality, your mindset is something totally different. Your mentality and your mindset will be something totally different. I hope you guys can understand, right? Maybe that is why they say that if a kid has very strict parents, they are eventually turned rebellious in order to gain the freedom that they desire. Exactly, Suwani, 100%. When your parents are trying to, limit your freedom, what you will do is that you will find that unlimited freedom. Most of the girls, they do that. Most of the girls, they do that. When their parents are trying to give too much of pressure, what will happen? That particular student will search for more pleasure. More pleasure. Too much pressure, more pleasure. So at the end of the day, right, she will lose her life because of that pleasure. So you should not give too much of pressure. Pressure should be given. Pressure should be given up to some extent, right? Because they are kids. So children are innocent. They can be corrupted very easily. They can be corrupted very easily. So the responsibility relies with the parents and the adults. We have to take the responsibility. But if you are a kind of an adult like this particular aunt, I am not going to agree with you. If you behave like this aunt, even though you are an adult, even though she said that she is wiser and better, I don't see any better in her. I don't see any better in her. Any good or any advantage I have not seen. I have not come across. So that is what I say. In order to get respect, you have to give respect. As a teacher, as a student, as a mother, as a father, right? If you are a student, you have some respect, self-respect. If the teacher is asking you to stand up and the teacher is blaming you in front of the whole class, she is taking your respect, your self-respect. No student will like that. No student will like that. If the teacher is asking you to go out of the class without no valid reason, no student will enjoy that. No student will enjoy that. So definitely you can't get the respect from that particular student. We all have that self-respect, self-dignity, right? Self-respect, self-dignity. Hurry up and write down the words. Right. Yeah, exactly, Suvani. Very good, very good. I have asked you to read that story, Open Window by Saki. You should read. There are a lot of. Can you understand, Suvani? The same theme can be seen in that story as well. Did you refer that, Puta? Same story, right? Same story. There, that little girl is actually outwitting that adult, right? What kind of imagination that she possesses to outwit that adult? At the end of the day, that particular person is running out of the house, right? Very, very beautiful short story. The power of imagination is discussed there. Very good. Right. Okay, what about the others? Did you write down? Lysandra, Rukeya, Sanduni, did you finish, Puta?
Finished.
Okay, right. Very good. Right. We will go to the description then. Right. Para number 12, description. We readers know that it was the moment that his true intention would be realized to discover the treasure of the lumber room. He took the key from the library and unlocked it. Now, can you understand the lumber room, which is the main setting, announced right from the beginning in the title, can be entered only by means of a fat, important looking key. However, the lumber room, which is of greatest importance, contains both pleasant and unpleasant things, dust, damp, and objects that could delight children. We can assume that this is just like heaven, especially for child like Nicholas. Don't you feel that at this moment, Nicholas is standing like a saint, the saint who holds the keys to paradise? Exactly, right? Nicholas can be identified as a saint. සාන්තුවරයෙක් වගේ නිකන් මේ පාරාදීසයේ දොරටුව විවෘත කරන සාන්තුවරයෙක් වගේ. Therefore, the lumber room is a privileged place for the flawless individuals, and it came up to his expectations, right? So you can hurry up and write down. Right, you can leave the meeting. If you have finished, Pudha, we will discuss the next part on the next day because we don't have time to write the other paragraph. Thank you so much for participating, and make sure to participate for the novel class as well on Wednesday, right? We have completed the second
The
chapter. Now we
Wednesday,
are in
sir,
the third chapter.
that 9 o'clock one.
Yeah. Right. That is also on Wednesday, 9 o'clock, 9 to 10:30. We have completed 2 chapters, and next week we are going to write the explanation of the chapter number 2 and chapter number 3. Also, we have done half of the chapter.
Okay,
So we
sir.
will continue those parts. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Bye, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.